Welcome to TheLobbyRatsPodcast. Who do you have with today?
Bill D'Antuono. I run Offshore Naples fishing charters, and I do all kinds of things around town. Just as far as like going to the council meetings, and we helped out a lot with the hurricane. So there's always something going on that's keeps me interesting, I guess.
Yeah. So, are you from Naples?
Yeah, originally my family's from Massachusetts, and they moved down here in the '80s. So that's where my roots are, up there. But I've lived here my whole life, so long time.
Talk to us about how you grew up, maybe, and how your early life was.
Originally, I used to skateboard all the time. I used to go to the Fleshman Park when we called it the cheese grater. The ground was like so bad that I still have scars from it. Like you fall and like you're just tore up. Like just a simple now it's all smooth. They got a really nice park over there. So I knew a lot of people from that side of town, and both my parents were school teachers, so I went to different schools, and I just knew people from different schools, and then ended up going to Barron, and then actually after high school, I actually went to USF, and I actually graduated with a degree in advertising. So
nice,
cool. So how'd you start doing Offshore Naples, or what were your previous endeavors before that?
I used to work at the scuba shop, Scuba Adventures. After I graduated, came home, so 2015, 16, and then I started scuba diving a lot. Never spearfished before, and then I started spearfishing, and that was what I wanted to do. And I was working at the dive shop, and I was like, well, if I just ran 1 or 2 charters a month, I would be making more money than I am working the whole month at this shop. So I just kind of went for it and scraped together everything I had, and here we are. So I've been in business 5 years now.
Nice. And how'd you start your Instagram account now too? That I think's maybe one of the most followed Instagram accounts in Naples.
I don't know about that, but it's I just always post stuff on there. But I used to have another one. I still do, Spearfishing Naples, Spearfishing Naples FL, and then I started my business, Offshore Naples, because it goes back to the advertising degree. The fishing world or fishing business in Naples, it's hard to break through that. There's all these established guides and everyone had been doing it a while, and obviously hats off, respect to them. But I was like, what's gonna rank on Google? So I just OffshoreNaples.com was open, and I was like, well, there you go. The rest is that's just what I made it as. So, and then my buddy I had the Google account when he had a business, or still does, on Fifth. So I made that my Google business. So it's right in the middle of everything. So.
Oh, nice. Well, did you always fish growing up?
I fished a little bit in the summer, when we went up back home, up to Massachusetts, and I fished here actually in high school, and I wasn't the best fisherman out of all my friends. I still don't consider myself the best fisherman. I'm not, but I just did it for fun and fished the backwaters, and then really what I came back from college, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? Everyone has that question, how are you gonna make it? And I was kind of down and out, and I just went on this kayak just by myself. My friend lived on the water in Vanderbilt, and I just took the kayak out, and within 5 minutes I was at peace, and I was I want to be on the water. That's what I'm going to be doing, catching fish. I always fished the snook lights growing up, and did all that. Yeah. And then I always just wanted to get offshore. That was my it's still there's always something more that you could do to get out and get offshore. There's always something else, some other fish, some other spot, something to keep your interest. So
Oh, neat.
And currently in your business, how'd you accumulate all the capital to be able to start this and get all your boats to do the
Well, I only
charters?
have one boat, so like
Okay.
basically like, I mean, I had a lot, some help from family, of course, like, you know, that I couldn't have done it without them. But I mean, they're not like, you know, it's like, this is what you want to do, so we'll help you get started, but that's it, like, you know. And you know, I just ran the numbers and I was like, we can make it happen. And like, you know, there's still a lot of trials and tribulations. And like last year, like I was running out 35 miles offshore and something took out both my motors and totaled both of them. And I'm still dealing with that. And like I had to go and like scrape more money and get new motors in the middle of the inflation, chip shortage, all that. So that really set me back. But, you know, I mean, you just got to work really hard and set your goal and just go for it. But, you know, obviously, like, you got to have help along the way, too. So it's, you know, I respect, like, anyone that works hard and can make it and fish, especially for offshore, because it's a lot of time. Like, I worked all day today and all this week. So, I mean, it's just like any job, but, you know, it's, I don't know. It's tough.
So are you happy with how it's doing right now, or would you like it to do better or expand more?
Yeah, I thought about expanding, and I actually did a little bit, because I also do commercial fishing. So I buy. You have to have these permits. So like, if you want to do charters, like say you want to come on my boat and you paid me, I have to have, and we went past 9 miles at federal waters. The permits are like $30,000. Like that's how much everyone that runs offshore fishing charters have to have these permits, and there's only like a dozen or so in Collier County, maybe 20. So it's all about that. You know, you have to have the permits, you have to get set up with federal government basically, and like it's a lot to it. You could have different safety gear, and so I bought my charter permits, and then recently got commercial. So now I can sell the fish we catch on designated commercial trips to, like, we sell around town steamers like Cafe Normandy, the Rooster, and Dilly Seafood is who I sell my fish to. So he's like the buyer that sells to those restaurants, because there's a lot of not real fish around town. So it's you know, it's good to have that fresh fish too. We also have a market on Fridays.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Well, can you tell us what boat you have?
I have a 32 Contender. It's it's an older hull, but it's still, you know, does a lot of work out
than
there.
ever.
But it's custom for spearing and diving, and that's why I bought it. I used to have the same exact boat, but a different style, the 31 Contender, and that mine has an enclosure with a hard top, so you get a lot of shade, and it's just, you know, it's always working on the boat. There's always something to do. Like I could name like 5 things right now that I got to do that I would be doing right now. But
Thank you.
yeah.
So
You can go.
So like, what other like trials and tribulations have you gone through besides the boat just to be able to start this business? And
Well,
do this now?
to start, I mean, you know, you have to get like the county, like, you know, not necessarily like a LLC, but you have to like sign up for Sunbiz. You gotta, like, you know, get the clientele. I mean, you gotta do like advertising. I already had the Instagram from the spearfishing page and the people from the dive shop, because at first I wanted to do like scuba diving, and like that was kind of how I started. And like I'd have a lot of people that spearfish that saw my page. This is before I had the charter, so they knew who I was, but like, and I knew who they were, but we never like really connected. But then all these people that I saw like on TV, and like, you know, like certain people, now I'm like friends with them because they dive and they spear and we're like minded, you know. But you know, just getting that network of people, and, you know, kind of my mindset was like, it's gonna sound kind of bad, but like, how do I get their money into my pocket and do something cool, you know? Like, so I mean, you know, and I try to keep prices fair and like, you know, it is what it is. Stay competitive, and you know, because I don't have like a slip fee. Like I don't have to pay payments on the boat, so I can keep my prices competitive. And yeah, it's just one thing at a time. So,
So, do you do the commercial fishing for as an extra stuff because you enjoy doing it, or is it something that actually that helps you like live off what you make? Or
it can be real profitable for commercial, but like, I mean, for example, like today, like I went out on a 3/4 day trip. We caught like our limited grouper, so I had like 3 people, so we got 6 grouper. Now to make that same money on a commercial trip, I would have to get 300 pounds of fish, like, and you know, so it's a lot more work on commercial. But once you hit like a certain level of like fish on a trip, you can make a lot more money. But it just fills in the gaps for me. So like if I'm not booked, like I'll do a commercial trip, or like it really helped me out because like they're closing red grouper down in July, which is like our bread and butter here. So like I'm not probably gonna run any charters until January 1st, because like that's all, like, I mean, I could fish for snapper or whatever, but everyone wants grouper. But I'll just do commercial, and that's what I did last year because they closed it in October. But yeah, it helps a lot to have that as like a secondary thing I can do. And that was also to add to fully answer your question. You know, when I was doing the spearfishing trips, which I don't do too many of those at all anymore, just select people with like charters. All these people are coming and they're shooting cool fish, and they're doing what I want to do, but I'm on the boat. So I'm like, well, I got to get my commercial license so I can, you know, I can shoot the fish.
Yeah.
Because that's my passion, is spearfishing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, you do fishing charters and commercial fishing, right? So
Right.
have you ever thought about like doing like diving, or do you have to get extra certifications for that, like taking people out to dive?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I started doing that, and I have done that. Like, on the way here, I got 2 phone calls for people wanting to go scuba diving. And I'm like, I don't really do that anymore because it's liability. You got to have a dive master. You know, It only takes one person to screw it up for everyone, you know, and I don't want to be in the headlines for the wrong reasons, you know.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I did it for a while. For 3 years, I was doing mostly spearfishing charters and some scuba charters. And I was just like, you know, scuba diving attracts like a lot of new people, and that scares me because there's a lot of like room for error, and you're diving, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, never beat the bubbles.
Yeah. So it's dangerous to scuba dive, number one, and then you're spearfishing, and then everyone wants to start spearfishing. And it's like, you know, I basically was requiring them to be advanced and like have 100 dives and like, you know, but still, even then, it's just like, now I'm like, all right, anyone can come fishing. You don't need a certification. It's not as dangerous. And I'll just spearfish when I want to go.
Yeah. And I mean, to run those scuba dive charters, I imagine too, not only is it like a lot of liability too, but you also have to do a lot of training for that, and also hire a lot of people to, you know.
Well, I'm a dive master too, so I have that certification. So I would have to have a captain, and then pay the captain, and then I would be the dive master, and then have on my insurance. Yeah, I have like a dive clause in there, but I mean, you know, it's just now I'm like, what's gonna make the less stress and the easiest way to like, you know, run this business. So it's now I'm just dialed it in with fishing and commercial spearfishing. When I invite people to go spearfishing, I know who they are. They're good divers. I don't have to worry about them. And I mean, you worry about them a little bit, but you got to. But yeah, like fishing is easy because anyone can fish, you know. And there's more people that are fishermen than divers too. Yeah. So it's expanding the market for me.
Well, throughout your career, which charter was more profitable? Was most profitable? Like,
as far as
making money and doing most.
Well, right now, I mean, we're in red snapper season, but it's a lot of work. Yeah. I mean, I'm making the most, but it's also a lot of work. So you get out what you put in, But I mean, that's another thing. Like, I don't do like half days. Like, I don't want to do half days, 4-hour trips. Like, I don't want to catch little grunts or sit on a spot and hope to catch a fish and people go home and they're not happy. Like, you know, the way I do it when I fish is like, kind of like how I fish commercial, where we're just like run and gun and like hit a bunch of spots and try to get our red grouper limit and then try to get like bonus fish or something at the end of the day. So yeah, you figure out what works and what doesn't. So, but half days are nice because you're done early, but I'd rather put in a little more work and
Yeah.
do what I do.
And when you did the diving charters as well, are you guys how deep are you guys going for that? Just like because
That's funny. Like, I have a hashtag how deep. So like if you look on my Instagram, like I'll put how deep hashtag, because that's like the first question everyone always asks. And then like the dive community and like everyone's always like, you gotta have thick skin to be a spear fisherman. It's like everyone's always cracking on you about something.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, like how, like if you go on my boat and open the hatch, it says how deep with the hashtag. But generally, like it's all about the visibility. So like I would dive here 45 feet if I could all the time, but I'm lucky to be able to see you, you know. And then you add a spear gun and there could be like a shark over there that you don't see. So, you know, like generally like 115 feet is like where we're starting. And then like the fish in the wintertime are in closer and the visibility's good closer in, but now like the visibility's bad on the bottom. It looks good up top, but when you get to the bottom, it's all murky. And then now, like, we've been doing deeper. Like, we'll go up to 200 feet.
Okay.
So, like, 150 I'm comfortable in, and then, like, once you get to, like, 180, it gets a little... You got to add, like... You got to bring different bottles and deco bottles and, like...
You guys aren't...
know.
Obviously aren't running just air. Like, you're running, like, nitrox or trimix? Or
If the deeper you go, the more oxygen becomes toxic under pressure. So, like... 21% what we're breathing now becomes toxic at like 230 feet, but like we do use the nitrox, that helps a lot. But we'll do like our deco stops with like pure oxygen and like 20 feet. So then that's a game changer when you're doing the deep stuff. So it's a lot to it.
Yeah, and that's also the problem too, because you got to be thinking about well, who's at this stop, because you guys have to, you know, set the timers right for each stop.
Right. Well, we got the computer, so the computer really helps do it that way. But what's easy here is like you go down and you go right back up. Yeah. As far as like going on the East Coast, you might end up a mile away from where you dropped in because the current just runs. So like I get a lot of people that go on my commercial trips from the East Coast and they're like, man, he's like, that was the easiest dive ever. And they see more fish here because this is really good fishery in our area. It's one of the best places to fish. Yeah. And the East Coast is like, they don't even see bait over there when they dive sometimes. So.
No, yeah. And I mean, when you did the diving, was it just for fish, or would you guys like specifically find maybe wrecks and stuff and dive those?
Yeah, there's a lot of wrecks. There's like shrimp boat wrecks and like these little clumps of metal and stuff. But when I first started, my claim to fame initially was lionfish. So, like, if you Google my name, you'll see lionfish. Like, spearfishing used to be illegal in Collier County. It was the only county in Florida that was outright banned. And I was at the dive shop, and there was a lot of time to kill because no one would come in the wintertime. So I was like, let me just, like, see if I could just write a petition and get this thing changed. So we got like 500 signatures, like it was on the news. Then it got sent to the governor's desk and they reversed the spearfishing ban. Like it only took 6 months. Look at that. So it's pretty cool. So anytime someone spearfishes or bow fishes in Collier County, you can thank me. in 9 miles. So it was always legal past 9 miles, but inside of state waters, it was illegal. And like the cops, the FWC would like, if they saw spear guns, they would instantly pull you over. But, you know, it was really cool to see, like, that whole, like, how, like, the law kind of, and, like, how, like, the process worked of changing a law, you know? It was, like, and now, like, I'll go to the council meetings and, like, still, like, there's all these different things happening with the council, like, with the Gulf Council. and we could talk about it if you want, but it can go on forever about it.
So do you think if somebody maybe wants to start doing something like you do, a fishing charter, is it important for them to be involved in what's going on, like the laws and stuff?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I mean, there's not many people in Collier, or I would probably say in the Gulf Coast from here to like Pensacola, that are involved in the council process. So like I'm like the only one from Collier that actually listens and attends the meetings. And like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's like I mean, and there's a lot of things that affect your business. I mean, you're spending 6 figures to start a business, but you're not going to go to listen to see what's happening.
Right.
Like, you know, you're going to hear it through the grapevine, or like, you know, like, and you actually can get stuff changed. You can talk at the, you know, council meetings and talk directly to the council, and it's all politics, but it's, you know, it's actually interesting because you always end up learning something. And they have like little meetings here and there, like around like the area. Same thing with like the county. They try to change the boat ramp rules. I was the one standing up there fighting for all the guides in the county. And, you know, like, I don't know. Hopefully they respect that, but if you have an issue with anything at all, the start of every council meeting in Collier County, you can get up there at 9:30 and say whatever you want if it's not on the agenda.
Well, how many times has this council meeting, helped your business?
Well, the ramp thing, I mean, like, they changed the rule that you have to have a sticker. It's like $250 a year for one boat, and then an additional $350 for the next boat. But if you want to pick up at the ramp, so like just being on top of that. And originally they were like trying to cut it out, and like they were trying to like change all these different things, and we're just like, look, like you can't do this. So they added more passes. So that helped that we went and they added actually like 50 or 60 more passes for people to so they could run their businesses. Now, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much, but we'll leave it there.
Well, you can go down it if you want to.
Well, this county, they don't enforce anything. So like, you know, it's hilarious because my friend, like, I was went to like 3 council. This is the Collier County meetings we're talking about, not the Gulf Council, which does like my fishing stuff. This is Collier County. So they had all these meetings, 2 years of meetings, and we get our passes, and then they're like, "Well, we want to wait and hold off," and then we're just like, "We just went through a whole year of this, and you're saying to hold off again." So then they did all these meetings, and then my buddy's car broke down at the ramp with a trailer in the first spot, and it was there for a week. He didn't get a ticket. So who's writing these tickets? Are they enforcing anything? And then I show up to the ramp, and this is like 3 months ago, and there's like 40, they're like all working on the houses down in Key Waden, which, like, respect to those guys because they're getting up early and going to work. Yeah. But, you know, the county is like, the boats picking them up don't have the county pass. The people they're just taking up the whole ramps. They're parking and taking up all the parking, and that's the whole issue, is parking. And like then the county is like, you're gonna blame it on the fishing guides who have been here since the start. Like, this is a fishing town, you know. So then, like, I went to the meeting and I was like, I used his, you know, I was like, this is your, I don't know what word he used, one of the council guys, but that got his attention. And then they actually like had him started to get bussed in. But I mean, it's a problem. It's still a problem. Like, these guys are showing up at 6 a.m. Taking up all those parking spots, and then you're gonna blame the charter captains when they're not following the county's not following their own rules that they made. Well, I have to pay $250 a year to use it. So that's the type of stuff that just like drives me crazy, and I'm just like, all right. Someone's gonna say something about it. I guess it'll be me.
You know, a lot of people talk about like Naples City Council, like maybe there's some like corruption in it. Do you think that exists a lot here?
So you got Naples City, and then you got the county. So there's 2 different things.
Okay.
So this isn't rabbit hole stuff. This is in the paper. So, and you might remember this. But there was like the mayor was like saying there was like a child trafficking ring at the airport. You can Google this. I was like, I bring this up every so often, like talking to people, like, where did this story go? She's like saying the sheriff was involved. Like, you can easily Google this. Like, I'm not just making this up. It's just like one of those things you're like, what the heck was that? And it's gone. But like, you know, this could get down the rabbit hole quick. But let's just say there's a lot of rich and influential people in Naples. So
Yeah, that's right.
that come here, like there's a lot of celebrities, senators, you name it, they're all here. So I wouldn't doubt for a second that something weird's going on. But as far as like corruption goes, like that's politics. I mean, you know, they all have their little shell companies or whatever. So
and I mean, you being so involved in that too, I mean, have you like maybe like received like some type of threats from these people?
Not really. Just one specific council guy was like, he's always like, oh, misinformation. I'm like, you said it. Like, you know, it's just, it's politics. I mean, I've never had like a threat or anything, but like, you know, not like about that, about other stupid stuff, but you know.
Okay.
Not, I mean, no one's ever been like, I mean, someone for the park thing, people are trying to like tell me to be quiet, like the parking pass and stuff, but it's like, this is how I want to run my business. I want to do it legit. I want to have all the permits and everything. So, like I told the council, I'm like, you know, this parking pass is like the bottom tier like permit that I need. Like I have like federal permits and this and that, and I have like a tracker on my boat for VMS. Like this thing, like if I can't get one, I'm gonna find a way to. This is nothing. Like, just give me my pass and carry on, you know, and let my friends have their passes too that want to work.
Yeah.
You know. But the real problem with that whole parking situation was COVID, and all of Miami had their ramps closed. They couldn't even take their boats out. It was shut down. So they all came over here, and then now all of a sudden we have a problem, and it's the fishing guide's fault. Like,
crazy.
And that's why I just talked at the council meeting, just to be like, hey, listen, like this is actually what's happening. Like, you know. Then you had a snook ban in Tampa, and they're all coming down here too at the same time. So.
And they blame it on the fishing guides because I guess they're attracting the people over
It's politics again. They always go after the low hanging fruit, the easiest ones that have the least amount of voice.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here. Like, you know, like I said, you're affecting people like me. Like, think of me when you're closing out charters out of the ramps.
And obviously you're involved in more offshore stuff, but did you also get involved in, for example, like the pier fishing bans that they were trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, I was like sharing the posts and stuff, but like that's a stupid thing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, like the pier was built for fishing. Yeah. It's Naples
dedicated
fishing pier.
For a fishing pier, yeah.
And then you get like some lady from Minnesota that's on vacation that steps in on a fish spine or something, and like, you know, ruins her sunset. Like, then now she's complaining to the council member or the city council member from Michigan or something that they're not even from here, you know, and then they want to change it.
That's
like
crazy.
Like, I mean, when I was growing up here, like Mercado, we used to play paintball in Mercado was like, I mean, there was a Vanderbilt Beach extension didn't even exist. You'd have to cut through Pine Ridge. So like, I mean, town's totally changed. Like, you know, you can see it everywhere, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just development.
Yeah. And then we had the hurricane.
Oh, yeah. How'd that affect your business?
Did you guys see anything about that, what I was doing? So I did a lot. So, like, you can look on my Instagram. There's, like, I made it to, like, Fox News. Like, the big Fox News. It was, like, my friend was, like, in Colorado. And he was, like, with his friends. He's like, that's my friend like from Naples right there on TV. Like, a lot of people say that, like, they just saw that interview. But, yeah, I mean, I had, like, this line on the wall. Like, that's as high as the water was at my house. My aunt lost their house. Like, my parents had a little bit of flooding. Still flooded their whole house. Yeah. Still rebuilding. All my neighbors got flooded out. I mean, it's bad. And then, again, like, you know, you want to bring up the council, like, no one was doing anything after the hurricane. No. Like, there was no spot to get supplies. And there was nothing. So I'm like, my neighbor had a warehouse, and we were like, let's just get all the supplies and have everyone come there. And it was huge. We had thousands of people and $100,000 of supplies going in and out. We were like working with the Coast Guard and like giving them fuel and like all this kinds of stuff, and like help, like actually like getting trailers and going to these communities that I didn't even know existed, but they're all like, you know, poorer people, but they live by the water in trailers, and they all were flooded out. It was like giving them ice and food and like all this stuff, and we went to Fort Myers. We're helping people for like 2 months, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. I mean, you know, and it, like, where's the help from our elected officials, you know? Right. I mean, what did they tried to piggyback on me? They were showing up there.
That's crazy.
And they tried to give us cots, and they said that you could only bring them to Collier County. Well, these are going to Lee County because that's who needs them. You know, we've taken care of everyone in Collier. So I mean, it's all like, you know, the stereotypical, like, you know, handshake or like kissing a baby for the picture.
Yeah, what's
like,
gonna help
you
their
know.
campaign, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and those meetings are crazy. Like, they're always talking about development. Like,
We don't need
what
one.
about the people that have been here for 30,
What
40
about the
years?
locals?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or like, what's going up next to, what are they building next to where the old Joey D's was on Davis and Airport? It's gonna be a car wash.
There's already enough
A
of
car
those.
wash, a bank, or a storage facility.
Like, I mean,
Better than
yeah,
apartments.
it's insane. Like, they're tearing down, like, because I live like right by Davis and Santa Barbara, and they're tearing down like all that forest to build more residential, and then they want to talk about, oh no, like let's you know, save the wildlife or like stay green.
Yeah.
Okay, but then also on the other hand, you're talking about development. Like,
Yeah.
it
Well,
doesn't
the
work like that.
development's bad because it affects the water too.
Exactly.
I used to, if you could, you know, the Collier County Waterkeeper. Like, I helped found the Collier County Waterkeeper, and I was the waterkeeper at one point. So when I was changing from the dive shop to my charter, I was actually doing that. The water, like, it's called the Waterkeeper Alliance. It's like internationally like recognized, like, nonprofit. So we started one here, and you know, they actually do a lot of like water samples, and there's a big one in Miami. So there's all different like factions of it. There's, you know, we have the Red Tide and stuff, and like it's kind of like it boils down to like holding like those types of people that are destroying the habitat, holding them accountable.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll actually like put out like big lawsuits. The Waterkeeper Alliance will, and yeah, they're just tearing it all down. But like, you know, we got the golf courses. Like, if you look at the one at Wiggins that's going up, that's where I grew up. It used to be woods. There's deers,
Oh yeah.
black bears, I'm sure, in there, turtle, like, and they're just like, just leveled it and putting a golf course. And then all that golf course fertilizer is going to go right into the Gulf. So, I mean, it's all about money, you know?
Yeah.
It's with real estate, Naples,
Yeah.
Florida.
It's awful.
It's real estate.
Yeah, like for example, like right there on the intersection of Davis and Santa Barbara, but it's in between Radio and Rattlesnake, I think it is. They there was this like big, just, I mean, when I moved there, it was all forest, and then all of a sudden they just started tearing down like this whole like section from like here to the next intersection of just this completely just tore down the whole thing. And I thought like they were gonna build like a hospital or whatever there or something, and turns out, I swear to you, I heard on the news, turns out that was gonna be like a almost like a dump site for like concrete or whatever, like it was like rocks like piled up to sky for concrete. So, and thank God, because somebody sued them, and now I think they're like charging them like $1,500 a day until they like
Is
clean
it
all
the
that
rock
up.
crushing site?
The rock crushing site.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that's
I've seen
always
that.
in the council. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this rock crushing site?
I saw it all happen there
Yeah.
in front of me. It was terrible.
There was
Yeah.
like a big, like, you know, they spent like half the meeting talking about that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know anything about it, but
But
that's
no,
funny.
yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I would get like all those like all that what do you call it, like the particleized almost.
Oh,
like
really? I'm sure.
concrete
Did you
stuff.
hear it?
Yeah, I would
It
hear
was
it.
loud,
I mean,
yeah.
because I live right by it. It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just tore the house down next to me, and it was like they're like banging the concrete, you know. And I thought about that. It's
Yeah.
like the rock crushing site, like, and it was all those little dust particles were all over the boat, you know. It's got to be terrible to breathe in.
And they've got to be in debt because it's still there. So I don't know what they're.
I don't know. I didn't know much about it, but it's definitely was like a hot topic because it was there.
Yeah.
They still are talking about it.
So like
in the last meeting.
Are you more in the county council or like Naples council? Just both?
Nah, county.
County.
I mean, Naples. Like, I don't live in like. Everyone's like, you should run for mayor. I'm like, well, it's actually District 4 commissioner. But I don't know if I'll ever do that. But I mean, you know, I know a lot of people, and obviously like want to be like a voice for like people, because you know a lot of people, they just are busy. You know, they might have like kids. Like, I don't have any kids, but like, you know, like it takes a lot of time out of your day. Like on a Tuesday or a Thursday where the meetings are at 9 a.m. like you gotta work. So like if I'm not fishing, like and there's like something going on, like I'll try to go there. The next thing they're trying to do is build this freaking wall in front of the passes. You ever see that?
Oh,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I was posting about it.
What is that about? Like, that makes no sense.
It's like the
For
Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, I heard that.
But like again, like money, like they're like saying it's gonna be like $3 billion, and that's what they're gonna be like giving, and that's how much the grant is for or something. And then I'm sure like this is gonna be some misinformation, but I mean, you know, like you talk about environment again, like they're gonna put a wall in front of the pass to prevent sea level rise, that the water's going to go around this wall.
Right.
Like, you know, water's going to go through that, you know? So, and then they're going to take, like, the pump station is going to be, like, in the mangroves, and they're just going to cut that out.
Jeez.
And then they're only doing it in Collier, but not in Marco. So they basically are just like, Marco's effed. Like the sea level rise. So
cutting out the mangroves?
They will, yeah. I mean, not all the mangroves, but like the dams or whatever need a pump station, so it has to be close. So like, what's by the passes is mangroves. So like, they're gonna cut out an estuary, you know. And then they were talking about doing a lock system from like Tavern on the Bay, like Tin City, like locks. Like, you have to like stop in each one to get out to the Gulf.
Oh.
And I'm sure it's going to stop right before Port Royal, so, you know. But who knows if that'll ever go through, but, like, that was, like, what, like, literally, like, the Army Corps of Engineers, like, dropped this huge, like, piece, like paper or whatever, proposal, and we're like, no illustrations. They didn't say what it was. Like, they said what it was, but they didn't say, like, they didn't spell it out in so many words, so, like, the Conservancy like read it all and like had like the renderings, and those are the renderings that you saw. Those are actually not from the Army Corps, but that's what that docket was saying was what they wanted to do. So, and it's all like speculative, or like, you know, it's still in the works, but like we can't let this just go. I mean, that's gonna be huge. Like, it's gonna ruin everything.
Yeah.
That won't happen for another 10 years though.
Well, it won't happen for another like 30 years, but like, I mean, the time that's gonna like take to build that, it's like
it's gonna ruin everything.
Yeah, and they're still last week they had meetings about it, and my buddy's on the board of, you know, the overseeing committee. So that's he's a like seawall guy and like a planning guy. So like, he's a good person to have on there, so I gotta hit him up and like ask him about that. I've just been too busy working, so like some days I'll go, like if the weather's bad, like I'm not working for a week or two, you know. So then that's when I get like, you know, try to like see what else is going on.
Yeah, thing is, like, if Florida's gonna flood regardless, you know. So I mean, like, this whole state's just gonna go under, but it's whatever. Like, I think it's all like just unnecessary, all the money they're trying to spend to try to prevent the flooding of Miami or whatever. Because I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Like, you're not gonna be able to just prevent it by keep building it.
Well, I mean, the people that are pushing that, you know, saying that it's sea level rise and all this, they have houses on the beach,
right?
So like, you don't know, like, is it gonna really happen? It might, but like, you know,
could just be like natural cycles.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. It's just natural cycles.
I
of
mean,
the
there's a
earth.
lot going on in the world these days, so
Yeah.
nothing will surprise me anymore.
Yeah. I mean, so what would you recommend for people like maybe young people, for example, like in your situation that are trying to start a fishing charter or a spearfishing charter, just a dive charter, whatever they want to
Well,
do?
spearfishing's a little tricky. I mean, like if we had great visibility, there would already be a ton of spearfishing charters here. But that's like you can't just go out on any given day and just like try to spear. Like, I mean, we have great fish within 15 miles that would be great to free dive and do, but like that's going to be the biggest challenge. So then you got to get the permits that I was talking about that are 30 grand. So like they used to be 8 grand and now they're like 40 grand. I got mine for 20. So like they've gone up. So who knows, like in the next 5 years they could go up even more. So yeah, you're going to have to get, that if you want to have the state license and spear, you're going to have to do it in state waters, which doesn't have good visibility. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
But for as far as like if you want to do like a fishing charter, like I know like a couple of younger guys, like this kid Jason Diver, like he hustles hard and he's got his multiple boats and he kills it. So like, you just got to put in a lot of work, and you really, I mean, you got to be a good fisherman too. So
Yeah.
And do you guys apply for like LLCs and stuff like that? Or?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, that's like accounting stuff, you know. So like my accountant hates the LLC. He's like, don't get an LLC. Like it's how you get in trouble. I'm like, well, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. So I just do whatever he tells me. So
Okay.
Well, how many licenses have you had to get, and how long did it take you to get them?
well, the hardest ones to get are the commercial ones.
Yeah.
So like anyone can get the charter. Like it's $400 a year to have a state charter license. So you can come on my boat and you don't need a fishing license. And then you get the federal one, which is the expensive one. And you just have to like change your boat registration to commercial. Like anyone could change your boat to commercial. But for like the commercial one, you have to have what they call is a restricted species license, and that's from FWC. There's a lot of confusion. It's like you're working in the federal fishery, but you need a state license. It's like, okay. But then, so you have to prove that you've brought in $5,000 worth of product, saltwater product is what they call it, a year. So you have to have someone sign you off. Yeah. So like if you worked on my boat and we sold $5,000 worth of fish, which is like 2 or 3 trips, then you could get your restricted species, and then you could start getting other fish. But anyone can get the saltwater products license. It's like $100 a year, and you could sell like bait and stuff. So.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And like as for the type of the equipment that you have on your boats too, I mean, does that account for a big part of your like your money going out? You have to spend a lot of money on that, or?
Yeah, I mean engines and stuff. Like boat engines are like 50 grand, and I have Suzuki's, and they're not the most expensive ones. Like Mercury's are like twice that. So like, I like my Suzuki's, but they do the same thing that the Mercury's do, maybe even better.
I like Suzuki's much better.
I mean, the price point's good, and they're going up. When I bought a set for like 38 grand, and that was in 2020, now that same set is 47. So like, I got to raise my prices. Everyone's prices went up.
Yeah.
Like I started doing my full day 8 hours like 1,500. Now I'm at like 18. And some people are charging like 25. So like these guys in Marco have like a $700,000-$800,000 boat. Like mine's nowhere near that expensive, but we're pretty much bringing the same fish. These guys they're really good down in Marco too, but all these guys, again, Naples, a lot of money. So, eventually like I'm gonna have to try to get a new boat that's gonna keep up.
Yeah.
That's just something else. And then it's one thing after the next. Like, I have an enclosure that was $7 grand. Like, so I just got that fixed, and then it's always something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, like, what rods and reels do you buy for your boat?
I almost brought some in. I was using Penn spin fishers.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
No.
No.
Got it?
I busted like 8 of them. And I'm like sitting here with a pile of pen spin fishers, and I'm like, this is not the way. And then I got Shimano Saragosas, and those are like, so far, I mean, I've had nothing but good luck with those. So, and then like the rods, like you don't really need like a super expensive rod. Like I'll just go on like Tackle Direct, and like I use Tsunami rods.
Those are the good ones.
Those are good,
but they're like, it's like $50 for the rod, and I mean I've caught everything with them. So like, why get a super expensive thing when people are just gonna bust it anyway?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've at least like I've heard a lot of fishing charters too. They want to get all these like a custom rod, for the charter, every single one, but like it's expensive.
Not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them.
But like when I
rods.
started, because I was like spearfishing, and then I would have to like get all these fishing poles and stuff, and like I just kind of like hodgepodged them together with like this random reel and this, that, and the other thing, and I was like, I had like not the best gear to start, and now I'm like, I've got like a lot of nice gear now. So Shimano's the way for me for reels. So.
Yeah. And do you get somebody to service those? You service them yourself?
I mean, I would probably get someone to do them, but I'm like the type of person, like if it breaks, I'll just buy a new one, or or put that one. Like I haven't had to service them, so I probably should. But they're not like showing me any signs of needing it. So
treat them like the boat, just rinse them down.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta keep up with that too. Like you gotta, like when I'm done here, I'm going home, clean the boat, and I gotta put gas in it. But like, that's a whole other. Maybe I need a mate or something to help me at this time of year, because it's like turn and burn. Like 16, I worked like a 16-hour day the other day.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, have you thought about like, obviously, I mean, have you like lost a little bit of your passion for fishing, or is it only
a little bit, honestly? But like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job,
right?
And then like, because everyone's like, oh, I bet you eat a lot of fish all the time. I'm like, not really. Like, I'm not in the business of keeping fish. Like, people pay me to give them to get fish, So like every once in a while, I'll have like a nice. I used to have a freezer full of fish before I started doing charters, because we would spearfish and have like a ton of mangrove snapper, cobia, whatever. Yeah. But now it's like, if you want to make money, you got to give that fish away.
Yeah.
And I don't really fish for fun anymore, like on a recreational trip. So like I'm working. I actually had a trip got canceled on Thursday, but I got every day going out of town, in July 1st. But I had that one day that I'm open. Like my buddy invited me on his boat, so I might go out fishing then, and I'll have some fish.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think, do you like better the game fish and stuff like that, or do you not go for like maybe, like, try to specifically catch like really big grouper or sharks or something like that?
Yeah, I mean it's more like I'm like the big fish kind of sport fishing, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Like I mean. The little like lane snappers are good to like a filler, but like you want like the bigger fish that people are like really struggling to pull in, that they're gonna remember that. Like so many people on the boat are like, that's my best fish ever. That's kind of what I'm going for. Is like that's what I wanted to hear you say. Is like that's my best fish I've ever caught, or like that's my biggest grouper or something. Yeah. So, and that happens a lot too. So it's kind of cool. That's like where I get. Yeah. That's why I want to keep passion going.
And for those, you get like Yvette's or like internationals or or do you just still use the Saragosas?
Saragossa, yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Or like for spearfishing too.
Yeah,
like spearfishing, we'll get big. You've seen those big black groupers or like cobias or something. Like when we even on the commercial trips, the guys will come out and be like, "That's my best African pompano" or something. But I almost brought my electric reel, so we'll go deep drop and like use the electric reel. So I do have some bent butts too that we use for those. But like, like the Saragossa with the Tackle Direct combo, man, I'll tell you, I can put some fish in the boat.
Yeah,
Not a bad setup.
Well, what can you say like was you or your charter's most impressive catch?
Fishing or spearing?
Fishing.
I mean, these red snapper trips, we're coming back with like, 200, 300 pounds of fish. Like, that's on a commercial day, that's a good day.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, we go out and we get the 33-inch red snapper, and then we get some decent, like, 30-inch red grouper or bigger. And, you know, you might get some bonus fish in there, like a big giant, like porgy. You get the African pompano. So, you know, some days are better than the others. Like, you know, like, I was just joking about this the other night. Like, people are like, they'll say, like, I want to get a lot of fish. I'm like, well, I'm a fisherman, not a magician. So, like, I'll try my best to put you on them, you know, but I can't go like that and put it in the boat. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a matter of getting out there and being in a good spot. Sometimes the fish don't bite. So that's when it gets tricky. So that's when you really gotta. That's when I get my butt kicked. Is when their fish aren't cooperating. Gotta switch it up and try something that does work. So
I bet you like it's a bit of work too as well. That I imagine you have to like retie all the rods and everything every morning. Or,
oh yeah,
yeah,
that's tough. Especially like you get like one shark and it'll like spin around and, like catch everyone's line, and then you gotta tangle and then you gotta retie, and it's like takes like precious time out there, you know, because you're going so far for these red snapper trips. It's like, you know, it's I call it like Inception, or what's that movie, Interstellar?
Yeah,
they like go to like the planet and like they're like, you know, time is gone, you're old now. It's like, all right, well, 2.5 hour boat ride, that's gonna cut in your fishing time. So but yeah, I mean, and I was just telling my buddy this the other day, like sometimes it's like, you know, the hardest days where the fish aren't biting, that's when you get the most break-offs. It just seems to be that way. So it's just, some days you're the dog, some days you're the hydrant.
And what are your plans for the future?
I mean, fish and, you know, just go to music festivals.
Do you enjoy doing that?
Yeah.
What types of like music festivals do you go to?
We go to Halloween every year.
Okay.
It's a fun one. We're going to see Dead & Co. next week in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
That was not cheap, but it's going to be fun. My bunch of friends live out there, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, a lot of just random, like, jam bands and, like, all that kind of stuff.
I heard there's a Pepper concert in, like, July.
I saw that. Is that at the casino? Or no? It's at the ranch.
Yes, the ranch.
And then another band, you probably haven't heard of them, Perpetual Groove and Here Come the Mummies are playing at the casino in November.
Oh, right.
That's a good one, too.
I know the Machiatsu. I think that's his name.
Mhm.
He's in August.
Nice.
I'm ready for him.
There's a local band, really good people, Moonstone Riders.
Moonstone Riders.
They play like 2-3 times a week, like around town. Like, I would highly recommend checking them out. Like, they're gonna sell, like, one of their songs is like gotta sell to like some country artist. It's like gonna be famous or something. But these guys kill it.
Oh, shout
They're
out
really
Moonstone
cool.
Riders.
Yeah. Shout out to Moonstone Riders, Matt and Marsha, Jeff, other Matt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and talk to us about what you brought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to like? Oh yeah, I guess I could pick them up here.
You'll
we'll
also
start with these.
camera zoom in.
No, I'll just these are from. You want me to just like?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can edit stuff
Yeah.
out. But this is from a wreck called the Baja California. Here, I'm gonna like look at you and do this. This wreck's called the Baja California. It was a cargo ship, and it was torpedoed by a Nazi submarine out in the Gulf. So, I mean, and there's like a website you can Google, and it'll show you all the wrecks that the U-boat sank, and it'll show you where the wreck sank and where the U-boat sank.
Oh.
Because like World War One, those U-boats, it's like iron coffin, but these are from World War Two, and they were like, there's like all different kinds. Like these are like you could see where like it's got this like pearl almost.
Yeah.
I see it.
But so you could lift up these metal sections when you're diving it, and you can pull out like dozens of those. It was hauling like 5 tons of glassware, and you can dive the wreck. It's really cool, like historical wreck. So
Yeah. How far is it offshore?
It is 65 miles southwest by the L Tower. So and I've seen like whale sharks there, and like we've done a lot of spearing on that one.
That's awesome.
And there's also like the towers. There's a lot of history out here, and you can dive the sub too, which is off the Tortugas in like 200 feet.
Dang.
Yeah, it's
That
pretty
must
crazy.
be cool.
And there's like other crazy wrecks. Like there's a lot of shipping lanes out here. Like when you go out, so there's one. It's a freighter, like a shipping freighter. It's just like sitting down like perfectly upright. And actually, this is where I got this one. This is a 72-pound Cubera. Look at the teeth on that.
Dang.
Yeah, you want to get bit by that? I don't know, but but yeah, that one. The wreck is like fully intact, but like most wrecks are broken up. But this one's like you could like swim all in it if you wanted to. I'm not going down the stairs, but you can get like in the captain's like quarters.
Yeah.
And like that's where that fish was. He just like backed into the corner. Got real lucky. It could have got really ugly, but you know, I got him.
And I imagine, I mean, like those wrecks from World War II. I mean, they never covered any of those like bodies or anything. You probably see like the skeletons or nothing. Like
I'm not
skulls.
looking for that.
No, but I mean, do you see it along the way? Well, you guys don't dive into it, right? Because you don't have the certification.
Well, a lot of them are like broken up, so like, in collapse. So like, you don't want to go in there the parts you can, because like
you're gonna get stuck.
Yeah, it's always sketchy when you're thinking about that, like
Yeah.
shooting a fish and like there's like this collapsed piece of metal that's like as tall as his roof, but like you don't want to go. Well, maybe like half as tall, but like yeah, you never know.
Oh,
Like you
scary.
gotta. I've had close calls where it's like you're diving first and you're spearing second, so you know you don't want to. I've been shook where it's like, oh shit, like I could have just died,
Yeah.
you know, like. But now, like, you know, it's you gotta slow it down a little bit, and that's another piece of advice to people that want to get in a spear, and like just don't go a little crazy, you know. Just kind of.
Can you tell us about one of those times?
I mean, just stupid, like if you're shooting like a fish out of a hole or something, and like he's I'm talking like a 50-pound black grouper, and he's like in there, and you shoot him, and then like he's coming back out, so like, and he's got your spear coming out, so like now like he's got your spear coming at you, so like that could like hit your eye or like, you know, break your regulator or something, or like, and you're also using the spear gun, which once you load those bands, like that's a very dangerous thing. So like, you know, like your dive buddy could be your worst enemy down there, because you know they got the spear behind you, and if they're not good and they're not paying attention, or like something malfunctions, like a lot can go bad. So I just try to remind people, like, if no fish is worth it, you
Treat it
know,
like
especially with the deep stuff we do. So
And also, obviously, the spear gun, treat it like a loaded gun. You know?
And yeah, I mean, you got to be real careful. Like, I mean, I've had a spear gun that I had, and it was loaded, and it got hit off the rock because I had it clipped off to my side, which I never do anymore, and it like came up and like hit me in the arm when it was loaded. So like, I'll never like clip it off to me again. So like, I'm holding it like out, you know.
Yeah.
So you just gotta like get it dialed in. You know.
Life's always at risk.
Right, and it could be. That's all it's gonna be.
Yep.
It's gonna be quick, and fish, they don't care. They'll eat your ass.
Yeah. That's how it is. Can you tell us a story of this?
Yeah, that's actually a fish I shot. I got third place snapper in the St. Pete Open with that.
Oh.
And it's called a Gayataku. This is a style of painting. So like, they take the fish, they paint it black with ink, and then they lay it on that canvas, and then pull it back up, and that's it. And then he like colored the eye. My buddy Cortland Hunt, he did that. So pretty cool. It's a mutton.
Yeah.
Fat one.
It looks fat.
And that survived the hurricane too.
Dang. Oh, was that?
It was hanging on the wall in the hurricane, so when the water flooded about where that white line is in my house, that's about as where that fish was.
Yeah.
On the wall. Yeah.
That's how it was in this area. This place also got pretty
Did it
flooded.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just fixed one of the houses here today. I heard.
Saw all the people working out front.
Yeah. That's good, but
Gotta tell.
glad we got it all fixed.
Yeah. And I mean, during the hurricane as well, like, did that hurt your boat? Like, did you have to do repairs on it?
Not really. I mean, I moved it by the interstate, so it was like inland. It was safe. It's like behind this barn that my buddy has, so like it survived Ian and Irma, so it should be good to go no matter what.
Yeah.
So, but then, you know, like, as far as like the business goes, like obviously like everything was shut down. But then like after we started going back out, like the fishing and the diving was like lights out. I mean, like fish are everywhere when we started, and then it goes back to normal after we catch them. But it was fun it's still fishy out there, but it was cool. It was kind of like I say like the hurricane giveth and the hurricane taketh. So like it gave us some good fish. It took away like fishing for like 2 months. So.
Oh yeah. And I imagine too that maybe you definitely are considering getting maybe like another boat or something else, because if something happens to that one boat or like if you somehow lose that one boat, that's like your business right there.
I got something in the works right now. I'm not gonna say what it is, but like it's kind of a long shot. But you know, that boat that I have, it's like, you know, that's kind of like what I'm known for. You know, is like each charter guy is known for their boat. You know,
yeah.
So eventually I'd like to get one, but I don't know how I'd pull that off, but hit the lottery or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, can you just tell us, what is your advice towards entrepreneurs or anyone?
I mean, I always like think like what else I would have done if I didn't do this. Like before I was doing this, I was like starting like a little like social media promotion page. Obviously that worked for me, you know, putting my name out there, but I have a cool business, you know. You're not gonna like have a cool, like, you could have a good social media if you like did like flooring or something, but like I don't know. But I guess just, you know, find something you love to do and go for it. Like I always say, like Naples, like you can really like there's a lot of opportunity here, like whether it's like cleaning pool business or like, you know, anything, like a locksmith.
Yeah.
Like you could pull something out of a hat and go for it.
Podcast.
Like, I mean, that's just from what I've seen, and I'm 37, and like, you know, I mean, I always wanted to start like some type of business that was like, you know, I want to be my own boss, and like, I don't want to deal with someone else's problems. I want to deal with my problems. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of why I started my business.
That's good. Well, thank you for being on, man.
Well, it's
Yeah,
great to have
appreciate
you.
guys.
Good to have
Some
you.
good questions.
We'll definitely have you on again in the future.
Yeah,
though.
man. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, if you want to shout out your company.
Yeah.
Yep. Offshore Naples, OffshoreNaples.com. Doing grouper fishing, red snapper fishing. We'll get you out there. Put you on a personal best.
All right.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
'Cause I wanna fish till